Alright, let's get click to worse. We gotta heat up this weapon real quick. Very nice. Get it one more time. Slide. Get some good distance. Yes! Let's go! I bet I can fish slap Wotan. Look at that damage. This grenade's actually insane. What the hell? Totally destroyed his shield. Alright. Whap! Bop! Yo, look at the damage on this gun. Crazy, dude. And his shield's gone. Hey, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Scared Soldier bringing you another Borderlands 3 video, and in today's video we got another Moze build for you guys, and this time we are using splash damage. So for the gear, let's get into it quickly. We got the yellow cake, which is obviously the new RPG from the event of the cartels, and this one is a COV weapon, and it is fantastic for doing maximum amount of damage. If you guys didn't see earlier, we one-shotted Tron in that little clip. Yeah, this thing can do insane amount of damage. This is obviously for Mayhem 10, so we got about 42,000 damage from this per shot. And then we like also using the pew pew, again with the same exact anointment, gain 300% increased weapon damage against enemies above 90%. This is so we can do maximum damage per shot, so basically allowing us to one-shot enemies for the most part. The other guns we like as well is because the OPQ system does splash damage as well. After I think it's a couple shots, it'll shoot a copy of itself out at the enemy, dealing some splash damage. You can also use this new SMG right over here. This one also does some splash damage and shoots grenades on enemies as well as bullets, which is really insane. And finally, you can use any other gun that does splash damage like Cutsman's, etc. with that anointment as well. But with that out the way, let's get into the shield. The shield we are using is the Recharger, and the reason we're using the Recharger is because we're mostly reliant on Health Steal. We're not spec'd into the Shield of Retribution tree, so again, we want survivability from any way we can. So the reason we have the Recharger is because basically, once this thing is depleted, it will instantly be back to full, and then it has a 20-second cooldown. But if you see at the bottom, I have an anointment called action skill and activate any effect that triggers on shield break or fill. So if the next time while this thing is on cooldown we are low on shield, we can just hop into Iron Bear, and this will instantly refill our shield. So when we come out of Iron Bear, we will have a full shield all the time, which is really OP. You can also do this with a stopgap if you want to get that immunity, but I like the Recharger quite a bit because it's a little more tankier in my opinion. The class mod we have is the Blastmaster. This one is great because the longer Moze goes without reloading, the more splash damage she deals, and this goes up to 100%. So this is going to hit really hard with our yellow cake. Trust me guys, it does a lot of damage, especially to mobs and stuff like that. And also we have the cloning manning tracker, so this is one of the ways we're going to keep ourselves alive with Health Steal by using Vampire. This is just probably Moze's best grenade to do that. And you can also throw on, if ever you guys want, you can throw on the fish slap. This is really nice too with the knife drain steel artifact, because this counts as melee damage, so you can just throw this at an enemy and refill your health at the same time. And this, don't sleep on this grenade guys, this does a lot of damage. It can actually take out Wotan's shield with a couple throws, which is insane. This thing does a lot of damage. With that out the way, the artifact we're using is the Pearl. Because we are spec'ing quite heavily into the green tree, we will not really be reloading, and we will be shooting quite a bit. So our consecutive hit anointment, well, not the anointment, but the actual effect will be long lasting, since we will not be reloading and we will be dealing damage quite frequently. Now, for the skill tree, we are spec'd into Demolition Wound first, and this is where a lot of our gun damage and our splash damage is obviously going to come from. So again, we want to get to Short Fuse, which is the most important thing. Now, some people were saying that Stainless Steel Bear actually makes Short Fuse better, but honestly I did an experiment and there was absolutely zero difference in damage. Maybe the experiment went wrong, but I was not getting any more damage. The numbers were the same with or without Stainless Steel Bear, so maybe they kind of mini nerfed it or whatever, but it does not actually add damage to Short Fuse, so I didn't put any points into Stainless Steel Bear. And of course, for our Health Steal, we have Vampire. Pull the Holy Pin is actually really great because our grenades will do a lot of damage, and also with the Fish Slap, it really adds a lot of damage to the Fish Slap. Auto Bear is nice to have because this takes a bit of aggro off of Moze once we exit Iron Bear, so this gives us a couple seconds to, you know, get some aggro off of us, so it's really nice for Moze because their survivability is key. And then the next tree we are in is the Bottomless Mags, the green tree, and this green tree right over here is where we're gonna get a lot of ammo regeneration. And recently they also buffed some of the perks in here, like Scrappy, Russian offensive. So these are going to give us bonus gun damage, and this one over here is going to give us lifesteal. So by sprinting, we can also shoot enemies, and the damage we deal gives 8% health back. So this is really handy. So not only can we throw grenades to get our health steal back, we can also sprint and shoot to get our health back. So definitely this is a must pick up for Moze for survivability purposes. And then lastly, of course, with Forge, this is going to give us constant ammo regeneration. So this is going to be perfect with the Blastmaster, and Click is great for the yellow cake because the yellow cake heats up, and the more it heats up, the more damage you're going to get, up to 60%, which is insane. Trust me, guys, that's how we actually one-shotted Tron, is by heating up the weapon, shooting that one bullet, and it just absolutely torched him. So you can see how effective Click can be. And with that being said, you guys can kind of throw on anything you want onto Iron Bear, whatever weapons you like you can put, but I usually use Iron Bear purposely just to give me a little bit of invincibility, give me a little break from taking damage from a whole bunch of ads if I'm in trouble. But I use them more for that, or also action skill and anointments, but I don't actually use him to do a lot of damage because he doesn't do too much damage on Mayhem 10, to be honest, so I don't really use him too much for that purpose. But with that out the way, let's get into some gameplay, guys, and let's check this build out. Alright guys, so quickly before we get into gameplay, I just want to show you the modifiers I was using. So we have the more than okay boomer. This is going to give us more grenade damage. Enemies have a chance to also drop a live grenade. We also have the Healy Avenger, and this basically, once enemies die, they have a chance to release a power-up that can heal another enemy around them. Not a big deal to deal with as well. We also have Ticked Off, and this is going to decrease the status effect by 90%. And then the buddy system, I actually really hate the buddy system just because it gets really annoying. You start to shoot at enemies, and these buddy systems make the enemies immune to all the damage in the game, which is insane. So you got to shoot those out the way first, and then you got to kill the enemy. But not the worst modifiers in the world, actually one of my favorites. So definitely, if you guys want, these are some good ones to have. I will make a video in the future on the best modifiers to use. But with that out the way, let's get into one last thing, guys. I want to show you was the Russian offensive in action. So I'm going to show you guys real quick. So if you guys see Russian offensive that we talked about a little earlier, they added lifesteal to this. Before it was just sprint and shoot, but now it adds lifesteal. So for when you sprint and shoot at the same time, you gain 8% damage dealt as health steal. So I'm going to show you exactly how insane this is. So you're going to see we only have 1 health bar remaining, and what we're going to do is we're going to sprint at this jackdaw, and we are going to start shooting, and it's going to show you how fast our health comes back to full. So let's get it. Sprinting, boom, already full. So within 2 shots, and this gun has a bit lower of a fire rate, and you just saw how quickly my health was full. So imagine guns with insanely high fire rates, how fast you will fill up your health as long as you sprint and shoot. Boom, 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 and then you guys will have it right there. So pretty cool stuff, just so you guys know how that works. Now let's get into the gameplay finally. So we are at the Takedown on Mayhem 10, level 57, Splash Moze setup, and you guys can see already we're going crazy, blowing up tons of enemies. I really like using this gun because there's a lot of ads around, so the splash damage helps clear out the crowds with this. And you see that we are using the recharger, so from time to time you guys are going to see our shield is going to be instantly refilled, and we are going to use Iron Bear as well in cases of times where situations get a little tougher. But for the most part, you guys can see we are doing about a couple million of damage per shot with this weapon here, and we're dealing about 1 to 2 shots per enemy, so killing them quite fast. It depends if they have the buddy system, like you guys see. If you guys have never seen the buddy system before, essentially it's those little drones that are flying around the enemies that are keeping them immune to all my damage, and that's why I hate them so much, is because they're so small and it's hard to hit them sometimes. But with that being said, guys, it's not the worst modifiers, and I will be posting a video on some of the modifiers to avoid and the ones that you should take for Mayhem 10. But with that being said, Moze is actually a really nice character. There are some other builds that I will be making with her in the future, but this is actually one of my probably top builds with her because just of the sheer damage she can do. And I hope we can find some more guns that are going to do even more damage, or at least comparable to this weapon right here. So we are at the Kraken now, and we are doing some damage. Keep in mind, radiation is not very good versus armor. It's actually weak. It's actually very weak against armor. It's good against shields and health, but it's very bad against armor. And we're still dealing a pretty solid amount of damage, even with that. So we got the Valkyries now, and we're kind of at the final part. I don't want to show you guys the whole takedown because then it'll be really long and kind of boring to watch the whole thing. You guys seen the takedown millions of times, but I'm just kind of showing you the highlights and just showing you the damage of what this build is capable of doing. And as you see, we are absolutely shredding through the Valkyries like nothing. And keep in mind, this is a radiation weapon. It is not good against armor, and it is still dealing tons and tons of damage. Preferably, we would actually like to have maybe a corrosive cutsmith. So this is where it actually gets really challenging, and most people would be dead by this part on the bridge, because there's a ton of ads, especially if you do not disable the actual event of the revenge of the cartels. Every time you kill specific enemies, they will send in a homing beacon that will basically call in some more support. So the bridge takes way longer than it normally would. So honestly, there's so many ads on the bridge, but nonetheless, we're handling them quite well with the yellow cake. It's actually very important that we have this gun because, like I said, there's tons of ads, so we need all that splash damage we can get, because if we were to use the Q system, we would have to shoot at one person at a time, and that would literally take forever. So that's why we are using this weapon to clear out the crowds, and it is doing a fantastic job of doing so. Like I said, the anointment you guys want to have is the 300% while the enemies have 90% health or more. And this is because, again, it will be active when an enemy has their shield, because their shield does not count as their health bar. So every shot you do with with this weapon, the yellow cake, when an enemy has full health, will do absolute maximum damage. And this gun already hits hard without an anointment on it, so another 300% damage allows me to one-shot every enemy when they are at full health. So we just got the heavyweights left, and you see that beacon calling in some more support. Normally we would have been done after that, but we got some more guys to deal with. But we just got our yellow cake to do the damage, and you guys see it is very, very easy. Boom. So the one thing you guys got to know about this build is that you guys got to make sure that you guys are throwing grenades, of course, because this is going to keep you alive, as well as sprint shooting. So as long as you are sprint shooting, or at least you're throwing your grenades, it's going to keep you alive. And the damage is no question how good it is, but you're going to want to use some of the main weapons in the game. I was using the recursion a little earlier, and it wasn't hitting as hard as it used to for whatever reason, even with a lot of ads and the perfect anointment on it. So try to use the guns that drop from the DLC for now. I don't know why they don't hit as hard as they used to, but for whatever reason that's the case. So make sure you're using the OP system, at least the yellow cake, things of that nature. Also the Kusan is a very, very nice SMG, so get your hands on that. And there's also a new shotgun that's kind of like the Brainstormer called the Reflux, and it basically does exactly what a Brainstormer would do and chains enemies, except that this one is in corrosive form. So nonetheless, that is really, really something you guys should get. And if you guys see as well, the really cool thing with radiation is because it's so effective against shields, what happens is the enemy is imbued with radiation, and some of the clips you'll see that Wotan's shield will just evaporate after I shot his health bar, and that's because the radiation is still taking effect on Wotan and will actually continue to do damage. And that's why when he goes through his shield phases, it absolutely wrecks his shield, since radiation is very, very effective against shields. But with that being said, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the build and hope you guys give it a try for yourselves. We're about to kill Wotan over here. If you guys like the build, definitely smash that like button for your boy, and don't forget to subscribe to the video so you do not miss another video that I post. I will see you guys in the next one. It's your boy Skilled Soldier signing out. Peace.